it seems only that the vaulter runs toward the pit, takes a grip on the pole, and swings over the bar. Now, if we slow down the action and take a closer look, some of the parts of the pole vault begin to emerge. We can distinguish a run, pole carry, planting of the pole, swing, pull and turn, and push. For a clearer view of the units of the vault, we must use both slow motion and stop action. The fine vaulters use a long run, sometimes as long as 150 feet. With respect to pole carry, two requirements must be met. First, the carry must be comfortable so as not to interfere with running. Second, the pole must be in a position to permit a smooth and effective pole plant. Several strides away from the takeoff, the pole is moved forward. This advance is a preparation for the plant. The takeoff is the most critical part of the entire vault. The vaulter hangs to keep his center of gravity low. The athlete has swung into a power position with his body close to the pole. He is now ready to pull and turn. The pull blends into a powerful push up the pole. The units form an integrated whole. Run, take off, swing, pull and turn, push. Now let's look more closely at some important points of form and the strong reasons for them. The pole has been planted. The vaulter is ready to take off. The arms are loose and partially bent to absorb the takeoff shock, yet the pole is well above the head. In this model, we've hung a weight from the pole to represent the vaulter. On the other side of the pole, a scale is attached to show how much force is needed to raise the vaulter and its pole. As we gradually draw the pole toward the vertical, watch the scale. The reading is becoming less and less. The higher the pole, the less force is required to lift the weight. Again, let's try two extreme pole positions. When the pole is close to the ground, more force is needed to support the weight. The scale reading is 40 ounces. The pole is being raised. The angle formed by the pole and the ground has increased. It now takes less force to support the weight, as we can see by our scale reading of 16 ounces. An important principle is seen. The greater the angle made by the pole and the ground, the easier it is to raise the vaulter. We want this angle to be as large as possible. We can now see how important it is that the pole be high when the vaulter leaves the ground. When taking off, the vaulter must make an effort to drive upward. To understand the importance of driving upward at the takeoff, we return to our model. In the previous case, we assumed a constant direction of force against the pole. The reading is 40 ounces as the force is now applied. Now we vary the direction in which the force is applied against the pole. The scale reading has dropped. At this point, the force is applied at a direction that is at right angles to the pole. At right angles, the needed force is at a minimum. The scale shows that the weight is supported by a force of 16 ounces. The principle becomes very clear. The most efficient application of takeoff power is at right angles to the pole. Thus, it is the responsibility of the vaulter to convert the energy of his run by driving upward. Though the drive at takeoff is hard and in an upward direction, the vaulter makes no immediate effort to pull. Instead, his arms are straight and he hangs loosely along the pole. Let us suppose that in the model the weight is hung from a place on the pole that represents the vaulter's maximum grip. The highest grip that a vaulter can utilize is one that just permits the pole to reach the vertical. In any vault, the energy of the run and takeoff can be used to raise the body weight to a particular height. At maximum grip, that height should be reached when the pole approaches the vertical. The maximum grip of a vaulter will depend upon the efficiency of his form, running speed, and his height. In this case, the line of dots represents the height to which the body weight can be swung. So far, the string has been hanging freely. This time we will shorten the string to see what happens. Now, with the string shortened and and the weight closer to the pole, we continue to raise the pole. With the amount of energy at our disposal, the forward motion of the pole must stop when the weight has reached the height of the dots. Hence, it is clear that the vaulter must hang after the takeoff. In this way, he keeps his center of gravity low during the swing and permits the pole to approach the vertical. The parts form an integrated whole: run, advance, shift, takeoff, pull turn, and push. The best chance of success in the pole vault will go to the athlete who is agile and strong. Particularly, he must be strong in comparison to his body weight. The more natural speed, the better. He must, of course, be willing to work hard and keep himself in superb condition at all times. The beginner has one thing in common with the expert. The takeoff is the most important part of his vault. After first learning to walk or jog into takeoff position, he learns to perform the same movements with gradually increased speed. With increased learning and greater confidence, the run becomes slightly longer and faster. An easy stride toward the pit, the pole is moved forward and up. A comfortable carry that permits a smooth forward and upward motion of the pole. The candidate leaves the ground to simulate the takeoff action more closely. The beginner must make this drill a regular part of his daily practice. He should realize the enormous importance of this basic work. In developing a smooth shift and an effective takeoff, he is building a firm foundation for the remainder of his vault. When the athlete is far enough along to approach the pit with a fair amount of speed, he is going to need check marks. Acquiring check marks is not a difficult process if the vaulter is in good condition. His stride length must be consistent, and he should be able to run without undue fatigue. A line is drawn on a well-brushed track. At a distance of about 100 feet from this line, a marker is set up just off the track. This marker is only for rough guidance and determines the approximate length of run. The line is struck with the left foot, and the vaulter runs by the flag. He does not try to hit it. The process is repeated several times, but on each new trial, the vaulter starts a foot or two to one side to preserve the spike marks from previous runs. The left foot marks nearest the flag are examined. If there is a consistent pattern, the best fitting straight line is drawn. If there is no consistency, the vaulter is not yet ready for his marks. Now he traces his spike marks, looking for the marks that are approximately 50 feet away. If consistent, let us say within 1 foot of each other, a straight line will be drawn through them for a check mark. For purposes of illustration, the line drawn nearest the flag is marked with a B. The line approximately 50 feet away is marked with a 2. The original starting line becomes the first check mark, and this is indicated by placing a 1. Now that the takeoff spot marked by B and the 2 check marks have been determined, it is easy to measure these marks and to transfer them to the vault runway. The check marks are tested on the runway. Making no effort to vault, the athlete simply runs through them at a comfortable pace. There is no direct attempt to strike either 2 or B. It is best that the marks on the runway be tested on a day different from the one on which the marks are determined on the track. The vaulter must be both fresh and well warmed up if the test is to be useful. The first time the athlete tries an actual vault from his new check marks, he is apt to be discouraged. The marks may seem more distracting than helpful. He is often so worried about the markers that he forgets all about the takeoff. He may fail to vault. Within a short time, he will grow accustomed to the marks and use them with confidence. It is good practice each time to check the takeoff position of the previous vault. The vaulter places his foot in the spike marks of the previous takeoff and checks this against the position he would like, a position in which the takeoff foot is directly under or slightly back of the hands. After the bar has been replaced, a final check is made on the takeoff position, and the vaulter is ready for his next effort. The athlete is beginning to run with confidence, perhaps with more speed than he can yet handle. A late shift and early pull prevent the pole from reaching the vertical. But certainly there is progress. If the attention of the athlete were drawn to his pull on the pole, there might be a quick and dramatic improvement. But it would be a temporary improvement. At this stage, coaching attention is best centered on the takeoff and the events just preceding the takeoff. The coach emphasizes the importance of the advance, high placement of the pole, and a takeoff foot that is well back. The events in the air are important, but they depend primarily on what takes place on the ground. As learning proceeds and the advance, shift, and takeoff become more polished, the run can be gradually lengthened to produce greater speed. With increased speed and a more effective takeoff, the grip can be raised. Running, especially with the pole, is an important exercise for the vaulter. Most men should avoid actual vaulting on 2 consecutive days. But, except for the day or two before a competition, the non-vaulting days are not days of rest. The serious athlete must work constantly to improve his strength, speed, and agility. The vaulter must practice in a systematic and single-minded fashion. He concentrates on one point at a time. He builds slowly but surely. The takeoff is checked after each vault. The determined vaulter is not discouraged by misses. He replaces the crossbar and gets ready to try again. Each part of the vault can be carried out well only if the preceding part is well executed. An effective pull and push depend almost entirely upon the work done earlier in the vault. Hence the need to drill on carry, run, advance, shift, take off, and hang. This is the base on which the pole vault is built. Here is an event that demands much, but offers much in return.